Hello, today we will explore a story about a dog tied to a carriage, and a lesson about how to control your reactions to situations. If you find the video useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more interesting lessons. There's an ancient Greek fable that reveals a truth about life many people never see, until it's too late. A dog was tied to a moving chariot. At first, it barked, resisted, pulled in the opposite direction. But no matter how hard it fought, the chariot moved forward. The leash grew tighter. The struggle became painful. Eventually, the dog realized something. The chariot was going with or without it. So it stopped fighting, and began to walk, then run, in harmony with the motion. This is not a story about a dog. It's about you. About how life moves forward, through change, loss, growth, time. You can resist, scream, dig your heels into the dirt. But life doesn't pause for your fear. It doesn't slow down because you're uncertain. You have two choices: be dragged by the weight of your resistance or move with grace, courage, and trust in the direction life is already flowing. Freedom isn't always about control. Sometimes it's about surrender. Not giving up, but letting go. Aligning with something larger than fear. That's where real strength lives. That's when the leash disappears, and you run not because you have to, but because you've chosen to. Which one are you, the dog being dragged or the one finally running free? Life always gives us a choice, but not always the one we expect. In an old Greek fable, a dog is tied to a moving chariot. At first it panics. It digs its paws into the dirt, fights the leash and refuses to move. But the chariot doesn't stop. Keeps rolling forward. The leash tightens. The resistance turns to pain. And then comes the realization. The dog has two choices: walk willingly or be dragged painfully. That moment is a mirror for us all. Life moves, with or without our permission. Change comes. Time passes. Opportunities arise and disappear. We can resist, complain, deny what is, or we can align ourselves with the motion of life. This is not about giving up. It's about giving in, to something wiser. To flow. To courage. To the road ahead. When you stop fighting reality, you gain the power to shape it. Because now you're not being dragged, you're choosing to move. So ask yourself, are you walking with the chariot of your life, or being pulled by it one painful inch at a time? What if the pain you're feeling isn't from life itself, but from the way you're resisting it? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot. The chariot begins to move. The dog panics, pulls back, digs into the ground, but the chariot doesn't stop. It drags the dog forward, leash burning against its neck. Eventually, the dog understands. It has two choices: walk on its own or be dragged. This simple story carries a profound truth. The chariot is life. The road is fate. There are forces in this world we cannot control: aging, change, loss, time. You don't get to steer the chariot, but you do get to decide how you move with it. Resisting reality only brings suffering. Accepting it gives you power. Power not to change fate, but to change yourself. To walk with dignity instead of being dragged by fear. Freedom isn't escaping the chariot, it's choosing how you travel. So ask yourself, are you fighting the leash or flowing with the journey? What if your struggle isn't with life itself, but with the way you resist it? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot. When the chariot begins to move, the dog fights back, pulling, barking, refusing to go. But the chariot doesn't stop. It moves forward, dragging the dog through dirt and pain. Eventually, the dog realizes something powerful. It can either walk with the chariot, or be dragged. The chariot represents the flow of life. The unexpected twists, the storms, the detours, we don't control them. We never did. The dog's leash is the thread that ties us to reality. And how we move, that's our choice. You can resist the circumstances you didn't choose, cling to how things should be. Or you can move with them, adapt, rise, and grow through what life hands you. This isn't surrender. It's wisdom. It's the moment you stop wasting energy fighting what you cannot change, and start using that energy to transform yourself. Pain comes from dragging your feet through life. Peace begins the moment you decide to walk. So ask yourself, are you still fighting the chariot, or finally learning to move with it? What if the real challenge in life isn't what happens to you, but how you react to it? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot which begins to move. The dog struggles, barking, pulling, resisting the pull of the chariot. But the chariot doesn't stop. It keeps moving forward, dragging the dog along with it. Then the dog realizes something crucial. It has two choices: accept the journey and walk with the chariot, or fight it and be dragged in pain. The dog isn't just a dog. It represents how we react to life's challenges. The chariot is the flow of circumstances, things beyond our control. The dog's fight against the chariot is a symbol of our own resistance to what life brings us: hardships, loss, change. The truth is, we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. We can choose to fight, resist, and suffer. Or we can choose to adapt, to align, to grow stronger through the ride. Real strength isn't in controlling life's course, it's in mastering your attitude toward it. So ask yourself, are you still fighting the journey or learning to walk with it? What if the peace you're seeking comes from accepting life as it is? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot. As the chariot moves, the dog struggles, pulling against the leash. But the chariot doesn't stop. It keeps moving forward, dragging the dog behind it. The pain of resistance grows stronger. Then the dog has a revelation. It can choose to fight the pull, or it can walk with the chariot, moving forward with it. The chariot represents life's flow, everything that happens beyond our control. The dog is a reflection of us, how we react to the events, the challenges, the things that we didn't choose. We can resist with all our might, dragging ourselves through life, or we can choose to cooperate with reality. When we accept the flow of life and adapt to it, we stop fighting. We stop struggling. And suddenly we move forward, not with pain, but with ease. This isn't about surrendering to fate, it's about surrendering to peace. It's about walking forward with grace instead of being dragged through the storm. True freedom comes when you stop resisting what is. When you cooperate with life, you move with it effortlessly. So ask yourself, are you fighting the flow or walking in harmony with it? What if the suffering you feel comes not from what life brings, but from how you resist it? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot. As the chariot begins to move, the dog struggles, barking, pulling, trying to break free. But the chariot doesn't stop. It moves forward, dragging the dog behind it. The more the dog fights, the more painful the experience becomes. Eventually, the dog learns a painful truth. By resisting, it only creates more suffering. It can either walk alongside the chariot or be dragged in pain. This dog is us. When we resist the things life throws at us, whether it's a setback, a change, or an unexpected challenge, we suffer. We fight against reality, and in doing so, we become powerless to change it. The more we fight, the more we feel stuck, frustrated, and exhausted. But the moment we stop resisting, everything changes. When we accept what is, we stop fighting against the current. We let go of the struggle and begin to move forward with ease, finding peace in the flow of life. Freedom isn't in the fight, it's in the surrender to what is. So ask yourself, are you still fighting against reality, or are you ready to walk in peace with it? What if the key to peace isn't in changing your circumstances, but in changing how you respond to them? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot. As the chariot begins to move, the dog fights, pulling against the leash, struggling with all its might. But the chariot doesn't stop. It keeps moving, dragging the dog along with it. The harder the dog resists, the more painful the experience becomes. This moment is a powerful reflection of life. The chariot represents the circumstances beyond our control, events, people, situations. We can't change them, but we can control how we respond. And that is where our true power lies. The Stoic philosophy teaches us a profound lesson. We cannot control external events, but we can always control our reactions to them. The dog's pain isn't from the chariot, it's from its own resistance to what is. The moment the dog chooses to stop fighting, it finds peace. It's not that the chariot stops moving, it's that the dog's reaction changes. It aligns with the flow of life. This is the essence of Stoicism, understanding that suffering arises not from the world around us, but from our own unwillingness to accept reality as it is. True freedom comes when we stop fighting what we cannot change, and start mastering how we respond. So ask yourself, are you fighting the world or are you learning to move with it? What if the freedom you seek isn't out there, but within you? In an ancient Greek fable, a dog is tied to a chariot. The chariot moves forward and the dog resists, fighting against the pull. The more it struggles, the more painful it becomes. But no matter how hard the dog fights, the chariot keeps moving forward. The struggle only makes it worse. The dog faces a choice. It can continue to fight and suffer, or it can surrender to the flow and move forward with the chariot. This is not just a story about a dog. It's about us and how we respond to the circumstances of life. Life, like the chariot, moves in its own direction. We can't control it. We can't change what happens to us, but we can control how we react. And that is where true freedom lies. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that inner freedom doesn't come from external conditions. It comes from our attitude toward life. From the ability to accept what is, to align with reality, and to act with purpose and intention. True freedom is not about escaping the challenges we face. It's about how we choose to respond to them. When we accept life as it is without resistance and choose to move forward with purpose, we find peace within ourselves. So ask yourself, are you still waiting for the world to change, or are you learning to change your response to it? Thank you for watching today's video. Remember, in life we cannot control everything, but we can control how we react. If you find the video useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share so we can grow stronger together.